It can only be attributable to human error.
You're entering paranormal.
He meddled in things that you people. He meddled in things. He meddled in things.
Where will we go next? Just a phantom from another time.
No one, Mr. Muller.
That's it, man. Game over, man. Game over.
That is one big pile of shit.
Hi everyone, I'm Alex Kaiju.
I'm Jasmine with.
I'm Eli Watson.
And I'm Stephen Myers.
And you're listening to
Cryptid.
Campfire.
Yeah, we did it. Welcome back
did
to
it,
another
everybody.
special episode. We did?
We just did it. Good night everybody, thank you.
Well, welcome everyone to another special episode of Cryptid Campfire. Today is a very special day because it is also the day we talk about saber-tooth tigers on the show.
What?
Whoa, they're on the same day?
Yeah, you know.
Oh.
That's
What a
right, we're
treat.
making it a national holiday. Sabertooth Tiger Tuesday. Everyone grab chopsticks, put them in your mouth, and start eating smaller prey with a bite force of 10,000 psi.
Well, I will be addressing some of these common misconceptions, some of these misconcepts about the
Some-
saber-tooth tiger.
Some of this dirty fake news going around the saber-tooth tiger, eh?
This will not
I'll-
stand.
I don't know if I would say it was dirty. Just more like regular fake news. Hey, wait.
They're dirty
Oh,
because
okay.
you have to dig them out of the dirt with the fossils.
Yeah, you gotta dig them out of the tar.
All right. I'm going to address some of these dirty misconceptions about these saber-tooth tigers right now.
Woohoo.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm introducing you to the saber-tooth tiger, aka the Smilodon, which, contrary to common belief, is not closely related to modern-day tigers or cats. Yeah, shocking, I
What's
know.
he related to then?
Take a bow.
I don't know. It's more like, I guess, if you were to compare human evolution and ape evolution to where we had a common ancestor down the way, but even farther separated. So even
Mhm.
farther in the past do they have a common ancestor than we and apes do,
Okay.
according to science. So, you know, your kitty that's sitting next to you while you listen to this podcast right now probably has very little in common with his bigger, I don't know what you would call it, like a second cousin.
Second cousin removed from the gene pool.
Yes. But yes, so we're talking about the Smilodon specifically because there are actually several saber-toothed cats, as I will get into. Let's see.
Are you going to tell us all 126?
Is that how many there are?
That's what I read. It says modern science recognizes 41 genera of prehistoric saber-toothed cats, including 126 different species, all from Europe, Africa, Australia, and North and South America.
Yeah, and I'm going to start going through the list, giving you detailed information on every single one, starting now.
And all the Latin names too, please.
Yes. Just kidding. Today I will be focusing on only 3 species that are all related to the genus of Smilodon. And actually, fun fact, guys, since we all live in Los Angeles, the La Brea tar pits constitutes the largest collection of Smilodon fossils in the world. And we
Mhm.
live right here. I've been there when I was a little kid.
Oh yeah.
They
I was
also
gonna say, have you guys, anyone else been to La Brea Tar Pits?
Of course.
Oh who? One of my favorite exhibits there is they have on display a saber-tooth tiger skeleton, but it's behind a pane of glass that when you walk by it, sometimes it looks like it has the fully formed skin on it, and other times it looks like the skeleton, like optical illusion.
Yeah.
And you can see the majesticness of the saber-tooth tiger at the La Brea Tar Pits.
Yeah,
Smile.
Smilodon. I have pictures, family photos of me and my siblings playing on those giant ground sloth statues they have hanging around.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Possible
those
map
were a
and
lot of fun.
guaris.
Possible map and guaris too. Wild. Did the Ice Age never end? You know,
Uh,
because they say the woolly mammoth is alive in Siberia, the Mapinguari is the giant ground sloth, and obviously we have Smilodon reports coming from the Americas
mhm.
and Africa.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, dude, we're in the Ice Age. We're in Ice Age.
It's true.
Everybody get your acorns.
Dude, yes. So, but going back to what I was saying about the Smilodon. So, they come in different sizes, the 3 different species. So, I will just share a fact or some facts about them as we increase in size. Starting with the smallest, we have the Smilodon gracilis, which weighs about 100 to 220 pounds. To put that in perspective, a full-grown lion weighs about 420 pounds, and a full-grown tiger weighs about 680 pounds. So this is probably more like the size of a large dog,
Mhm.
which is it's still enough to mess you up. Don't get me
Uh,
wrong.
I mean, not only is it the size of a dog, but it's got what, like 5 to 6 inch long canine teeth that stick out of its mouth.
Yes, which it will use to impale your eyeballs. Smilodon fatalis is 350 to 620 pounds. And we have finally the Smilodon populator at 485 to 960 pounds.
Whew.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
The
Uh,
big chungus of the prehistoric world.
yeah, and I think they measured its teeth were about 11 inches long on average. We're talking about the fangs here,
Woohoo!
which is pretty large. Probably less functional than they would like. In fact, I think they found a bunch of in the La Brea tar pits. They found a bunch of arthritis and microfractures in the skulls, probably due to the fact that their teeth are so big and the way they have to use them to bite down into food. It's not so much like how we bite down on food. Obviously, it's more of a kind of like a stabbing motion,
Mhm.
leading to some microfractures in their skulls. Obviously, it
Yikes.
can't be good for you. Yeah, I actually, the more I read about the like issues that they discovered about these kind of animals, the less functional it seems to have big long fangs like that. It's kind of a wonder that they even survived as long as they did because it just doesn't seem like an easy life to
Nah, they
have
were
teeth
just
like.
blessed with being huge.
Yeah,
Mhm.
huh.
They lived fast, they died young, and they left beautiful corpses.
Yeah. So, well, actually, as an adaptation to their large teeth, they were able to open their mouth much wider than cats are able to today.
Mhm.
Um,
And have you ever seen how wide a cat can open its mouth?
no.
It
Never?
if you ever look at a video of a cat yawning, their mouths open like almost halfway their entire face.
Yeah,
Eli,
it's true.
I have to believe that you've seen a cat yawn before.
Yeah, I don't know why I said that. I grew up with cats. I've definitely seen that. Um, I was thinking about it like even before Alex said it. I was like, "Oh, a cat yawning." I've definitely seen that before.
But
um,
you you felt the shame of admitting it.
yeah, dude. Now just picture that, but wider. Um,
Mhm.
so there's some speculation on how they hunted. Some people speculate that they hunted more like lions. Uh, to where they hunt down animals in large groups, or they hunt like hyenas, which are more responsive to distress calls from animals that are in danger.
Mm-hmm.
What should also be taken into account is that we don't know how social these animals were. So we don't know if they lived more solitary, kind of like the Tasmanian tiger, or if they lived in packs.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Especially too, you don't know, because you think about it, if they were solitary, I mean, it's probably hard to live in a herd of, 900-pound tigers that all have giant teeth and are just trying to kiss and snuggle each other, and they're just ripping apart.
yeah.
So you got to be careful.
So as for the hyena theory, as for attacking prey that's already kind of incapacitated, you have the staggering number of Smilodon skeletons found in the La Brea tar pits, kind of suggesting that they went after other animals that had been stuck in the tar pits and they themselves got trapped. As far as what does a Smilodon look like, guys, in terms of its color?
You tell us.
I think I read that they don't have like
They
the information to like pinpoint a specific color.
You're right. They cannot pinpoint a specific color, and they cannot pimp them.
They they cannot pimp their rides.
Yeah. So yeah, the coat patterns are actually unknown. I know a lot of people paint them tan and with like spots and sometimes stripes, but we really have no idea what they look like.
Maybe
In
they
terms of
were
their
black and
coats.
white like zebras.
Dude, that would
Wouldn't
be
that
so
be something?
fire.
Could you imagine just like a herd of them through the tall grass? You just see black and white stripes kind of flesh in and out before giant teeth come out of nowhere, like
Mm-hmm.
the raptors in Jurassic Park when they attack.
Yes. Very descriptive. And as far as where these Smilodons lived back in the day, um, it was in the Americas, Brazil, Argentina, North America, basically everywhere in the Americas, and it would be different genuses or genera of saber-toothed cats that lived in other parts of the world.
Mm-hmm.
And they estimate that they went extinct around 10,000 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
That's when all the megafauna in the Americas really died out. So, and assuming that these creatures hunted larger animals like the mammoths and like giant ground sloths, when those went extinct, their food supply basically disappeared as well.
Mm-hmm.
Because something that comes with the bigger size, I know Stefan said that they were blessed with the larger size. I mean, larger size in nature isn't necessarily a blessing because that just means you have to eat more.
But at
And that,
least they had. I just mean they had the
yeah.
means to like actually, because
Oh,
they
yeah.
ate like stuff double, triple their size almost, right?
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, for sure. Oh,
So
yeah.
that's what I mean. They're just like they have those huge neck muscles, so they can
Mm-hmm.
chomp and open their mouths wide and all that
Mm-hmm.
good
Yeah.
stuff. So
Yeah.
I feel like they were okay. I mean, those I can't imagine how annoying those teeth were because they talk about them being fragile too.
Oh,
That would
yeah.
suck.
And, yeah. That's, I mean, these creatures are, like, awesome to look at, but, like, bro, it would suck to be one of them. Like, jeez. It's a hard life.
Yeah.
To lug your like 1-ton body around.
Yeah, I know, straight up.
You're
But
like, I'm
that's enough.
tired of eating mammoths and sloths. I could use the burger.
Yes.
Yeah, I was watching a National Geographic video, and they liken the way the saber-tooths walked to like with the way their body is shaped. Like their gait is more similar to like a black bear.
Oh, I'm sure I could actually see that.
Yeah.
They're kind
Who
of
wants? Nobody wants to
slow
walk
moving.
like that. Got way too much weight on you.
Yeah, dude. I don't know. You gotta be big to be number one, right?
I guess they were the
So,
apex.
but like Alex said, perhaps these saber-toothed tigers got tired of eating ground sloths and woolly mammoths and decided to trade them in for hamburgers
Mm-hmm.
because people report seeing these creatures, if not the Smilodon, similar looking creatures throughout the world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's been sightings of large unidentified cats with oversized fangs coming from Australia, 10 different African nations, 6 countries in South America. And in sub Saharan Africa, which is where we're going to focus most of our attention today, I think, they've got 47 nations and more than 1,800 languages. And so the mystery cats that they see down there are known by multiple different names.
Mm-hmm.
How many languages?
1,800.
Oh, good lord.
Yeah, so pronouncing things today is going to be fun.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
So, most of the research, if you look up current day sightings of saber-tooth like cats from Central African Republic and Chad, the two most common names that you'll come across if you're doing research on it will be the Enity tiger and the Tigre de Montagne. That's French for mountain tiger. Again, my first language is English, obviously.
Je ne sais quoi.
So I made a note just for myself. So the entity tiger, as well as many of the other names that we're going to be mentioning today, can all be categorized as mountain tigers. But there are also what's known as water lions, which are similar to mountain tigers in appearance, but they inhabit different environments. So spellings and pronunciations of these names differ by source.
Mm.
But if we're going to talk about just your general mountain tiger, it's a large cat with gigantic fangs like walrus tusks. And like I said, there's been 2 types of creatures reported, one that inhabits the mountains and then one that inhabits the wetlands. So both types are reported as being larger than a lion with extremely large front fangs that extend out the mouth down past the lower jaw. But the 2 types of creatures do have some differences which set them apart as possibly being 2 subspecies of surviving saber-toothed tigers. So when we're talking about the mountain type, these are large tigers that lack tails. The fur is often sandy red or brown with white stripes, overly hairy legs and feet, and the tiger's jaws are reported as being strong enough to carry away a full-grown antelope. The front legs are usually more well developed than the back legs. It's also nocturnal and makes its home within caves in the mountain ranges. Now, the water type
Mm-hmm.
is described as being larger than the mountain type, often around 10 to 11 feet long. Their fur is a darker shade of red or brown, and it has white markings throughout the body. And other sightings have also described the creature as being completely brown or with a fur pattern similar to a leopard. And the water type is noted as having a long tail, as being extremely fierce and temperamental. And so I think we're going to be talking about a lot of different types and different names, but that's your like general description. We've got kind of those
Yeah.
2 basic mountain
Mhm.
version and wetlands version, but they're all saber-tooth like cats.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And I have a couple of names. I'm sorry, Alex, what were you going to say?
Oh, no, go ahead, please.
Oh, I was just going to say a couple of names and some short descriptions about these various tigers or cats that inhabit Africa. So we have first up on our list the Hadjel. That's Hadjel.
Mm-hmm.
That is sighted in Chad. The Guerra Massif, which is described as larger than a lion, has a short hyena-like tail, a large mane, obviously the very long fangs. And this one is particularly interesting because the people who call this the creature Hadjel describe it as having difficulty opening its mouth, saying that it causes its pain, the big long teeth cause it pain,
Mm.
which I think is very interesting considering the history of Smilodons and the microfractures they found on their skulls.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I was mentioning, it's not very easy for something with teeth like that to necessarily bite into things. So I just think it's interesting for people who don't know what a Smilodon looks like. Supposedly, um,
For people who aren't well versed in the paleontology of an extinct animal from 10,000 years ago.
right. I
It
know.
looks like Dennis Leary.
Sounds like him too.
Oh my. I know people say like the people in Africa couldn't know what a Smilodon is because Smilodons have only been found in the Americas and in Germany, but like we just said at the beginning of the episode, saber-toothed cats are actually found everywhere. So
Mhm.
I think it's very possible
Mhm.
for them to have seen a saber-toothed cat skull, you know.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So for them to say that they don't know what one looks like, I feel like is a little unjust, is a little bit of a quick judgment.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Not, but like you said, not that these people are like necessarily studying these skulls and then making up stories about these creatures. Um,
Mhm.
we have the Gassengram, which is located in the Owanda Djale. Oh yes, I'm sure I butchered that. Um, this is in the oh shit. What does CAR stand? Central African Republic. It's described as reddish brown and is most notable for its eye shine.
Ooh.
Oh yes. We have the Imatong tiger, which is located in the Imatong Mountains in South Sudan, and this is brown with white stripes on it, which I think is very interesting.
Now that is one that I did not come across. That's a name that I haven't written. What is it called again?
Imatong tiger. It's the Imatong.
Okay.
So it dwells in the Imatong Mountains. We have the Nissi, which is located in Chad in the Tibesti Mountains. It kills chickens and goats without eating their flesh, and is reportedly said to have 7 tongues.
Ooh.
What?
Yes,
7?
I mean,
7.
you'd have a hard time eating too if you had 7 tongues flopping around.
Now the
Jeez,
question is, are all of those tongues layered on top of each other or horizontally across the mouth?
I have no idea.
It's got like
Uh,
2 on the bottom, 2 on the top, and like 3 sticking out of the right side.
oh
It's like
my.
Alien 2, where one of the tongues opens up and like 3 pop out.
It's like it's time to taste in extra dimensions.
Yes. But I think it's interesting considering last week we talked about the chupacabra
Mhm.
that this is reported to eat animals without eating their flesh.
Mm.
Um, and this actually might be based in some science, because I don't know if we mentioned Bernard Hubelmans yet in this episode,
Mm.
um, but his research will come up quite a bit here in a minute, I feel like. But he basically hypothesized that these creatures, due to their long teeth, are not able to bite into creatures. Instead,
Mm.
they have to resort to lapping up blood like a lynx or a serval, which I think is interesting.
What's a
Again,
serval?
I'm not. It's some type of cat. You really want me to look this shit up? All right, here we go.
Now you said that it kills chickens,
Chickens and goats.
chickens and goats. Well, I read that the local people of Chad have also found hippo corpses to have died from puncture wounds in the necks.
Interesting. Who knows? This could be. I guess these are both in Chad, huh? There could
Mhm.
be two different types. There's a lot of cats in the world.
Yeah.
Um, so a serval is a wild cat native to Africa. It is rare in North Africa and the Sahel, but is widespread in sub-Saharan countries, except rainforest regions. And it kind of looks like a mini leopard. It's about 26 pounds, so it's pretty small. Gestation period is 74 days. Um,
Whoa.
so don't get eaten by one. Oh, I guess it can't eat you. It will have to lick your blood.
That's why it takes so long.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. So other facts about the Aneti tiger. I don't know if Jasmine, you want to share some more of that.
So most of what I said already is what I got for the entity tiger itself. I don't really have anything else besides that. I do have a couple of the extra names that were broken down between the mountain types and the water types. You've already mentioned two of the ones that I had written. I've also got the Vasoko, which is a local name used for the Tigre de Montagne in parts of the Central African Republic.
Right.
But other than that, I don't have any additional information on the entity tiger itself. I do have uh, information about reports and sightings and things like that. But if we're talking descriptors or things like that, I have already said all that I have.
Oh, okay. Then I guess I'll share some of Bernard Hoovelman's research.
Okay.
And some of his theories into what these cats are. Um, because according to some reports of the Inedi tiger or the Tigre de Montagne, they can kill prey as large as an antelope and carry it away on its back,
Mm-hmm.
which is quite a bit. And so Hoovelmans actually theorizes that it's strong enough to take down adult elephants, which is something that lions actually do on rare occasion. The roar of the tiger has also been likened to the bellow of an elephant. Oh no.
Is Toby
the-
messing with stuff?
Yeah, yeah. So this, I guess, begins. My big story here is from a man named Christian Lenol or Lenoel.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna say Lenol from now on because I think it sounds funny. But
Linoleum.
linoleum. He was hunting alongside an elder native tracker in 1969 in Owanda Dijale. They heard a terrible roar from a cave, which the elder tracker said belonged to the Tigre de Montagne, and he wouldn't go anywhere closer to the cave. So later, Lenol showed the natives pictures of other cats to get an idea of what this Tigre de Montagne might look like. And so he showed them images of ocelots, tigers, snow leopards, cougars, and a Smilodon, which they pointed to the Smilodon, saying that that was their Tigre de Montagne. Lenol says in their defense that they cannot confuse two types of big cats, even if they have similar characteristics. These trackers are so good at what they do that they just don't get stuff confused like that.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where he brings up that the people in this area of the world wouldn't know what a Smilodon is, so why would they be making it up and describing it as sometimes melanistic? That's what's interesting to me because melanism is the opposite of albinism, where you turn all black. And they describe the Tigre de Montagne as sometimes being melanistic.
Mm.
Which is a weird thing to make up about a creature that isn't there, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so Hoovelman suggests that these saber-toothed cats are actually adapted to nocturnal life, as they are often described as being nocturnal, and they live in the mountains to avoid competition with lions. So these large teeth would make them slow eaters, as I mentioned before. Um, it supposedly gives them pain to use their teeth, so they would mostly use their teeth to dig up small animals like rodents, large insects, porcupines, snakes, lizards, and that would compose of most of their diet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a
Yes.
website. There's a website called Cryptids of Africa, which I visited for some of the research for this. And they have a statement at the bottom of their website that says this: "We share the opinion of Bernard Heuvelmans that the mountain tigers of Africa represent extant, meaning still in existence, or surviving, saber-toothed cats which have retreated to the mountains to avoid competition and scavengers. Reports of the Hadjol only being able to take small prey line up with recent evidence that Smilodon had a relatively light bite force."
Yes. Yeah. That combined with the low bite force and the fact that it gives them pain. I don't understand how these animals even survived in the first place, but apparently they did. Um, so
Just when you think
Another
you got them beat back, they keep coming back for more.
yeah.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, Hoovelmans actually said that these mountain-dwelling tigers are different from the water lions. He believes them to be two different types of animals.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you said that. But-
Yeah, towards the beginning, I mentioned that.
There's the differences, right? The mountain lion is more
Mhm.
swole. He's got big front legs, but he skips the leg day with his tiny legs. No tail. The water one's got a big, long, floofy tail. It's like
Mhm.
11 feet long.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the two types of creatures do have some differences which set them apart as possibly being two subspecies of surviving saber-toothed tigers. Did you have any more information about your good friend Lanoel?
No, I did not.
I have another point here. Apparently, when he was doing all of this stuff that you had mentioned previously, where he was showing pictures and stuff like that, the local peoples recounted a story from 30 years before. And in quotations, it says this. I also got this from Cryptids of Africa. It says, to convince me, they took me to a rock shelter cave where, according to them, there was a mountain tiger about 30 years ago. My first tracker affirmed to have seen it with his father during a hunting party in these hills. He and his father had managed to kill a horse antelope, and at the time of the skinning, a mountain tiger had emerged from the bush to seize the trophy and had won without apparent effort, in front of both terrified and dumbfounded hunters who had not asked for their rest and had returned empty handed to the village. I don't really understand what that last sentence says, but that's a quote. You can cut that out if it doesn't make sense.
No worries.
Because when I read it out loud, it didn't really make sense to me. But
Can you read it one more time? Because I didn't hear it. I'm so sorry.
okay.
Just that last sentence.
It's a really long run-on sentence. That's why. Okay. It says, he and his father had managed to kill a horse antelope, and at the time of the skinning, a mountain tiger had emerged from the bush to seize the trophy and had won without apparent effort, in front of both terrified and dumbfounded hunters who had not asked for their rest and had returned empty-handed to the village.
Oh.
Mm,
They just told the whole story in one sentence, I guess.
yeah.
Yeah.
Who wrote that? J.D. Salinger?
You don't have to use it. It doesn't really make sense, but
It does make
the
sense.
beginning
though,
the
but-
beginning part makes sense. A tiger came and stole the thing that they killed, but that's just something that Lenoir had added when he was
Lenoir.
talking about. Yeah.
Right on.
Now, he was a French game hunter. What's
Mm.
interesting is most of the stories that are about these saber-toothed tiger sightings in places like Africa, none of them actually come from first-hand Westerner accounts. Like, there's not been anybody to go and search for the tiger, like coming from the US to go and try and find it. All of the stories that we have are sightings from the local people who have retold the stories to Westerners.
Not yet, dude. Me and Nash Hoover are gonna be the first ones.
Smile
Uh,
for a Smilodon.
Could you imagine? Yeah, they said it was easy to get away from because of the time it takes to open its mouth.
All you gotta do is punch it in its saber tooth.
Aw.
Yikes.
You just got to grab two corks from a wine bottle and stick them on the sharp parts.
Ah,
Oh.
yeah, thunk.
Gets them every time.
Yeah, I suppose you could break those really easily.
They say they're like pretty fragile, so if like one's coming after you, just sock it in its tooth.
Yeah, I mean, you really could, huh?
Or you could, if it's like on top of you, grab both and yank them off.
Aw.
Yank them off.
Hey,
Yeah.
I'm only saying this if it's a life or death situation. If you're
if
about
it-
to die, yank
If it's
those
a life
saber
and death
teeth off.
situation, if you got a saber-tooth tiger on you, before you do anything, just yell, "I'm not a dentist," and then grab his teeth and yank.
Yeah. Then you guys become best friends and you get him veneers.
You get him some gold-plated ones.
Yeah, hell yeah.
You know what would be interesting is I wonder if their teeth are like beaver teeth to where they just keep growing.
Mm-hmm.
You
Or like
know,
shark
because
teeth. Shark teeth.
yeah,
They regrow their teeth, but yeah, like a beaver or
yeah,
like a rabbit. Yeah, their teeth never stop growing, so they have to keep grinding them down.
yeah. Because I would imagine, big long teeth like that, exposed to the elements all the time,
Mm-hmm.
they would get grinded down pretty quick. Uh, so I wonder if they just keep growing, and that's why some of them are like have like extra long teeth, some of them don't, or
Yeah, who
maybe they
knows?
don't grind down. Maybe they're impervious. I don't know.
Maybe
But
they keep the enamel safe with Crest.
I have some sightings from the Americas that I would like to get into. Does anyone else have African sightings?
Yeah, hold on, let me find. Here's something interesting. So this this is a question for you guys first. Does not have to necessarily go in the the episode because I'm a little bit confused. I read something on Cryptids of Africa that states the first person to use the term cryptozoology in print was a guy named Lucien Blancao. But that's not true, right?
The first person to say again?
The first person to use the term cryptozoology in print.
I don't believe that's correct. Does it say what year that was?
Uh the story's from 1937.
That would be quite interesting because, as far as I know, Bernard Heuvelmans is the first person to
Yeah,
use cryptozoology
that's what I
in
thought.
print.
Okay. Do you have any sightings before 1937? Or you've already said all of your
I've said all of my stuff. What's this clucker's name again? So I have it. So I can. Lucien.
It's Lucien Blancou.
C-O-U. Lucien
Um
Blancou.
um well, that's I don't
I don't
know.
know if that's true.
I know. We're not going to say that part. I'm just going to say his name. So, the supposed first report of a mountain tiger comes from French Central African wildlife specialist Lucien Blancou. In 1937, a village chief in the Central African Republic relayed to him that a grassingram, now earlier you called it a gassingram. A lot of the websites that I read have an R at the beginning, but either way, one of these creatures had been recently seen haunting the area and had occasionally been seen in the daytime while carrying its prey off to its mountain lair. So that's supposedly the first report of like a saber tooth being sighted in what you would call quote modern day, even though that's still kind of a long time ago, 1937. 1950, J.K. Jackson, who was the British silviculturist at the Forest Department, government of the Sudan from the 1940s to the 1960s, received a report from workers toiling in the mountains about a creature not known to them. It's quoted as saying, "It was a big animal, bigger than a lion, and very great. His head was big, with a pointed muzzle and a black mouth, armed with long canines. His general color is brown, with on the flanks vertical stripes of a yellowish white." Now, I thought this statement was interesting because apparently this guy Jackson himself believed the creature to be a Nandi bear, which is also a cryptid, but it's more similar to like a tree climbing hyena. And for anybody who didn't know, silviculture is the growing and cultivation of trees. That was a new term I learned while reading this story.
Mm. So did
And
they
yeah,
find out what it was?
no,
Oh.
that's the end of the story. He thought it was a Nandi bear. And then I've got a couple other random sightings, one from 1960, one, and then I've got information that you already said about Christian Lenole, whatever his name is.
I think it's Len Noel, but
Lenoel.
I say Lenole. I
Billy Noel.
actually have it right here in the words of Lauren Coleman about Lucien Blanco. He was the first person to use cryptozoology in publication
Mm.
in 1959 when he dedicated his new book to Bernard Heuvelmans' Master of Cryptozoology. However, it was Heuvelmans who provided the definition that we all kind of use now. So
Interesting.
so I'm not sure if Lucien defined cryptozoology, but it's definitely Hoovelman's definition that we use now.
Mm-hmm.
The fog has lifted.
I was
Yes.
blind, but now I see.
Well, that's some of the stuff that happened in Africa, but as we mentioned earlier, we've got stuff happening in South America as well.
Yeah. Everyone
poppin'.
play some cumbia music.
What?
Yeah. Play
Um,
it up, Eli.
well, I'll take you to the year 1975. So most of my research from here comes from a book called Mystery Cats of the World by Carl Schuker. And he received a report of a mutant jaguar captured in Paraguay. It was reportedly weighing 160 pounds, and its fangs were 12 inches long,
Mm-hmm.
which is incredibly disproportionate to the Smilodons I was talking about earlier. But if we take into consideration my theory that the teeth never stop growing, this makes perfect sense. It was reported that a zoologist named Juan Acavar, who examined it, and he thought himself that it was a Smilodon, but officially it was considered a mutant jaguar. Unfortunately, Schuker was never able to find Juan Acavar or any photos or anyone who had witnessed anything mentioned in the report, so take it with a massive grain of salt.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah, because the supposed remains were not preserved either.
yeah, no. And according to one report, they were actually set on fire.
Oh my.
So yeah,
Oh.
there's a whole lot happening there.
Yeah. And did you mention, I don't know, I zoned out for a quick minute, but did you mention that so as not to disturb residents, the authorities just stuck with the jaguar identification?
No.
Yeah. They just
Why?
said it was a big jaguar. They didn't like publish that it was, thought to be a Smilodon or anything like that.
Yo, nuts. I'm gonna bring up another theory because I have a couple more sightings to reveal. I just feel like I should get this out of the way about these things not being Smilodons and what else they could be.
Mm-hmm.
Introducing the Thylacosmilus, which is more akin to a marsupial than a
Mhm.
cat. So it's another situation like the Tasmanian tiger to where it's convergent evolution to where it looks similar to another animal, and this would look similar to a saber-toothed cat. And these creatures also lived in South America, and they could weigh anywhere between 180 to 260 pounds. They also have a weak bite force. And that's actually Hoovelman's theory that these are not Smilodons that people are witnessing, that they're actually Thylacosmiluses, though that is not as catchy as a Smilodon. So, like Jasmine mentioned earlier about the water tigers in Africa, there's actually quite a bit of water tiger sightings in the Americas, and these are reported to be about the size of a jaguar or larger, with the protruding tusks, of course, and whoa,
Sorry.
the colors ranging from fawn to yellow to black to white to brown and reddish, so almost every color you can imagine. So some water tigers for you. We have the yaquaru in Argentina and Paraguay. They're described as otter-like, which I think is interesting, with tusks and a long tapering tail, and they live in caves along the river. And I have an account from 1752 by a man named Thomas Faulkner. So he writes, it is called the Yakwaru, or something else that I cannot pronounce, which, in the language of that country, signifies the water tiger. It is described by the Indians to be as big as an ass, of the figure of a large overgrown river wolf or otter, with sharp talons and strong tusks, thick and short legs, long shaggy hair with a long tapering tail. The Spaniards describe it somewhat differently, as having a long head, a sharp nose like that of a wolf, and stiff, erect ears. This difference of description may arise from its being so seldom seen, and when seen, so suddenly disappearing. Or perhaps there may be two species of this animal.
Hmm.
It is reported as being, destructive to cattle. Yeah, so I mean, it basically eats people's animals. But yeah, I think that's interesting that the Spanish actually knew about this creature as well. I think that adds some credence. It's not just a native, legend. The Spanish themselves have reports.
Bless you.
Thank you.
Bless you. Yes. We have the Maipolina, which is from French Guiana. I think that has a different name nowadays, French Guiana. And this one is quite strange because it's reported as being 9 feet 9 inches long and 3 foot 3 inches wide.
What?
With one long stripe along its back.
Which one is this?
The Maipolina.
Maipolina. Okay.
It supposedly attacks people on canoes. Yeah, and I also have the Ipa from Brazil, and Carl Schuker suggests that the Maipolina, the Yaquaru, and the Ipa are actually the same creature. I have another one, which I'm going to attempt to pronounce.
Before you move on, I do have a note about the Maipolina. It's also known, was it Popoke? Because I have here that residents blamed the cat known as Maipolina or Popoke, meaning water mother, for killing and partially devouring a boy found in the Moroni River near Mariposola.
Whoa.
That was in October of 1962.
Whoa. They gotta change the name then, because that's not what mothers do.
Are you sure about that?
I'm pretty darn sure, Eli.
I have the Ent Zaya Yawa of Ecuador. I'm pretty sure I messed that one up. But so this one is interesting that I'm even bringing it up because unlike other water tigers, this one does not have saber teeth.
Get it out.
What?
Just kidding.
It doesn't belong.
Oh, let's just start including everything that doesn't have saber-toothed tigers then.
Yeah, right.
We're gonna talk about frogs right now, dude.
I would like to say, because I don't see a whole lot of Spanish or Hispanic cryptozoologists out there. I know we talked about one during the Mapinguari episode, but a lot of this water tiger research comes from a man named Angel Morant Flores. And so he investigated basically every single water tiger we've mentioned so far and more. And he wrote a book on it. And I can't read it because they haven't translated it to English. So, but
Just
yes.
type it all into Google Translate. Get the book and just type it out.
Sometimes that's not accurate.
True.
Just call up our good friend Duolingo.
I don't know if you guys got this, but in 1994, a saber-toothed cat was reported in northern Mexico. And it was observed by a guy named Mr. Roberto Gutierrez. And I think that was the most recent report of a saber-toothed cat.
Whoa.
Yeah. There was, in 1984, a report of someone seeing a saber-toothed cat emerging from a cave in Paraguay by a French sailor named Francois Piquet.
Ah, yes, Piquet.
That's French, all right.
Oh, yes. And this comes from Science Illustré in 1998. Take note of the 14-year discrepancy because there's no other source for this sighting besides this one magazine.
Mm-hmm.
I have this pretty interesting report from 1928 of a Bronco businessman named Colonel R.B. Pearson, who arrived outside the office of the Morning Oregonian with a large covered cage in the back of his truck. He said it contained a mysterious animal, which the journalist referred to as a "what is it?" Very clever. So
he called it a "who's on first."
he reportedly let two reporters see the animal, and they claimed that it growled at them, and they described it as weighing 800 pounds, looks like a combination of a tiger, lion, and cougar, and growls like all of them together. They also said it had stripes, a square snout, shaggy hair and shoulders. Oh, shaggy hair around its shoulders and tusks in its mouth. Pearson fed it one calf every 2.5 days.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So later in the month, Pearson and his alleged animal, again, only 2 people had seen it at this point, arrived in Idaho. And the Idaho Statesman said that the creature was about twice the size of a mountain lion with a peculiar beard and markings similar to those of a tiger. Its ears resemble those of a gorilla. Which I'm not entirely sure what a gorilla's ears look like.
Hold on. How did we get to Idaho again?
They went from the Morning Oregonian, which is in Oregon, to Idaho, which it's not too much of a drive.
But wait, how did we get? I think I lost track of something. How did we get in the States?
Oh, I'm sharing a story from 1928.
That happened in the United States?
Oh yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
You know what's weird is gorilla ears look like our ears.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So I'm not sure, but keep in mind, the story has more to it, and we'll see some interesting things here. So this is where Pearson revealed where he had gotten this animal from, and he said that he and 6 other men captured it southwest of Mexico City in May 1928. He said that he believed it to have killed several people and had injured one of his helpers. And he actually claimed that a spectator who got too close to the bars had had his face clawed in.
Whoa.
Yeah. So this is where the story kind of gets really interesting. According to Pearson, he was planning to take this creature to Washington, D.C. to be identified by the National Zoological Society. But what happened was on November 8th or November 28th, his truck had been overturned in an accident in Iowa, and his animal had escaped. However, he went back on what had been reported thus far and said that his pet, he had never called it his pet up until his moment, but he said his pet had resembled a gorilla and was not dangerous. So whatever this creature was, if there was even a creature, it's now lost to history.
Well then.
It's crazy. It's funny that he's like, oh, it was a gorilla the whole time.
Yeah, right. But yeah, I mean, shit. There's a ton of water tiger reports from Central and South America. Paraguay seems like a pretty hot spot for some. So, like I said, Flores is the one who was researching a lot of this. He was corresponding with Schuker a lot, and a little bit of Bernard Heuvelmans, if I understand it correctly. So, pretty interesting. And I thought I read somewhere that there was reports of saber-toothed cats coming from Arizona, but...
Ooh, what do you gotta say, Stefan?
Yeah, Stefan, how many have you seen?
How many what have I seen?
How many giant saber-toothed tigers out of Arizona, sir?
More than my left hand.
Oh, dang. All right, that's it, everyone. It's a pandemic in Arizona. The saber-toothed tigers are everywhere.
Yeah,
that's just what we need.
You learn just to kind of swat them away.
That's what July brings.
You always keep tigers. Meat. You keep extra meat in your fridge just so you can like throw it away to your neighbor. Have them deal with it instead.
Jeez. Yeah, dude. Could you imagine Tiger King, but with saber-toothed tigers?
Oh my. No, I don't even
I just
want to.
I'm never gonna financially recover from this.
I've never watched Tiger King and I don't plan to.
Why? I feel like
'Cause
you would get really into it, Jasmine.
I feel like I would get really frustrated
Not
just
until
by
you
the
see the way it
ignorance.
ends.
Yeah, dude.
Nah. At the end, I wish I could say everyone gets what's coming to them. I'm
I mean,
still
I know
hoping
And
for that
it's
to happen.
jail.
still going on though.
It's
It's still
still yeah, it's
happening.
still happening. Did you see what
Crazy
Jeff Lowe
stuff
said
is
the other
still
day?
going on. What did he say?
He said Carol Baskin's got something else coming to her.
Oh no way.
Yeah. But
They're
anyways,
all
that's
going
enough of
down.
that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, dude. Joe's talking, dude. Anyways, what we're here to discuss now is, does anyone else have anything else to share?
About
Nope.
saber-tooth tigers in general, or
Yeah.
sightings?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I guess we could talk about popular culture, huh?
I was gonna say. Well, it's funny because I don't know if we mentioned this, but I think the first fossils of a saber-tooth tiger was found in 1842 in
In
Brazil.
Brazil, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So it's the saber-tooth tiger is fairly recent to us. It's 10,000 years old or so, but the idea of a saber-tooth tiger is still somewhat new, and it pops up in pop culture a lot. One of the most famous examples, I would say, is the Ice Age movies by DreamWorks. It's
How many are there? I've only seen the one, I think.
there
Oh
is.
no, it's Blue Sky, is it not?
Yeah.
Oh, is it Blue
Yeah,
Sky?
that's what I just said.
Oh, I always thought it was DreamWorks. What do you know? But there's 2002 Ice Age, 2006 Ice Age: The Meltdown, a short film called 2006 No Time for Nuts.
2006, No Time for Nuts, or Ice Age, No Time for Nuts?
Just No Time for Nuts. It's all about the little
okay.
school.
I was like, what?
I think.
Ice Age 3, Dawn of the Dinosaurs, right?
Ooh.
What about
Yeah.
Meltdown?
And then 2012.
We said
That was
Meltdown
the
already.
second one, yeah. And then they take to the seas and they fight pirate monkeys in Continental Drift.
This
Does it
episode
really happen?
has just become a debate on how many Ice Age movies there are and what their titles are.
There's 5. Alex has got them all right so far.
And then there's
the last
one is Ice Age Collision Course,
That's right.
where the comet comes to finish off the dying franchise one at a time.
Oh,
Yeah,
God.
we need a direct sequel in between the last one and the previous one. What did you say? Continental Drift, and then the one it'll lead up right into Cataclysmic Shift.
Cataclysmic
dun.
shift.
But yeah, the first Ice Age is about a mammoth played by Ray Romano, a saber-tooth tiger played by Dennis Leary, and I think some kind of sloth played by John Leguizamo.
Leguizamo, dude.
Yeah.
Who
And
I've
then-
met in person, actually.
You have?
Yeah, I met him
Whoa.
at Excellent.
No way.
Yeah.
And they have to save this horrible CGI baby.
Oh yeah.
It's not that bad. Ice Age 1 is a good movie.
It is good.
And it is true that humans coexisted with saber-toothed tigers and other animals like that back then.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. So I guess you could use that as a theory, right? That this is just a cultural memory rather
Ice
than
Age is based off a true story.
Yeah, dude. That's how we tamed dogs, right?
Mm-hmm. We made a terrible CGI movie franchise and beat them into submission. There's also Ray Harryhausen.
Mm-hmm. Did he do one?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
He did a film series called Sinbad the Sailor, where he goes off and he has all these adventures. And in 1977, we had Sinbad and the Eye of the Tiger.
Whoa.
Thrill of the Fight, Rising Up, all that good stuff. But in it, Sinbad searches the world for this giant jewel, and he finds this ancient, ice-covered pyramid, and inside is a frozen Smilodon that comes to life. And they got to do battle with it, but they have help from a giant troglodyte man.
So let me get this straight. They unfreeze a saber-toothed tiger and then kill it.
Yeah, well, it's part of the defense of the pyramid.
Oh, got it.
Yeah, it's
That
pretty
totally
dope.
it justifies.
And there was a toy line in the '80s called Dino Riders, where in the past these aliens crash land and they start strapping guns to all these dinosaurs. And there was a spin-off series called Ice Age where they did it to woolly mammoths and saber-toothed tigers.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
it's a
had
pretty dope tow line.
I had some pretty similar toys when I was growing up. It was from this brand called Imaginext.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so they had this cool thing with dinosaurs where it was all prehistoric. So they had like cool attachments to dinosaurs and stuff, but they all fit the theme. It was all like a bunch of cavemen. And so the chairs would be made out of stone or like wood and stuff, you know. There was nothing really modern about it, which I always really liked. And so I had this really sick saber-toothed tiger. And I made it fight my woolly mammoth all the time. Damn, dude, I really miss those toys.
Aw.
But yeah,
Ooh,
dude, those
Gotta go to eBay.
the back of the saber-toothed tiger actually had some like hair on it, like some fur or whatever, so you could like, touch it or I don't know. It was cool though, but it had this like little trigger so it could open its mouth and stuff. It was cool. Bite people.
Imagination to the next level.
$30 on eBay, my dude.
Yeah?
Yep.
Ooh.
Does it
Fisher
have
Price.
stripes?
Fisher Price Imaginext Sabertooth Tiger Thorn Dinosaur brand is what the listing says. Because
Oh,
the dude the tiger's name is apparently Thorn. But yeah, it's a saber-toothed tiger and it's got a patch of hair on its back and it comes with
yeah.
a little person, it looks like.
Oh
Now
yeah.
we know
Those
what Eli's
people.
doing right when he hops off.
Ooh,
Yeah.
yeah. Gonna go on every eBay bid and snipe everybody.
Yeah. Yeah, but now they've changed it, so now it's like modern dudes with like guns and stuff, and I'm like, it's not as cool. It's not as cool as the cavemen. Because
Yeah.
I had the corresponding play sets. All the bad dinosaurs had their own play set, and all the good ones had their own, and I had both. Dude, I couldn't believe it. Dude, those toys were dirt cheap. But when you're a kid, it's like $100 and $10 makes no difference in your mind. It's like it's money, and I don't have it. But anyways, that's my saber-toothed tiger story for everyone.
Ooh.
Thanks for giving us a look into your childhood.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if Tigger from Pooh Bear had saber teeth?
And then he jumps at Pooh and starts slashing his throat open.
Oh my. Well, Alex, speaking of things slashing each other's throats open, what does the Cryptid Coliseum hold for us today?
All right. Let us get ready for the Cryptid Coliseum, everybody. Make sure I get my notes ready and all that.
Wee woo, wee woo.
And here begins the origins of the Cryptid Coliseum. We opened millions of years ago, back to a more primeval world. We see all kinds of vast vegetation spread across Pangea, the Omni-continent. A giant black lagoon sits among the forest, the primordial ooze. Across the sky, a giant fireball appears. It descends into the atmosphere, and it breaks apart. Fire explosions light up the sky as we see a black monolith emerge from the flames. It slowly disappears into the black lagoon. We see strange, grotesque creatures slither out of the water. They crawl and slide off into the distance, a mystery for another time. The lagoon crystallizes solid. It cracks and breaks apart. Chunks of frozen ooze begin to connect into a huge shape. The camera lingers on the newly formed Colosseum. Its huge form contrasting with the megafauna of a bygone era. See it in all its glory. The violence to come and the violence to deal out will be great throughout the centuries as the Colosseum is born.
Are we allowed to play this music?
I don't think it's gonna come off strong enough for anyone to care.
Inside the arena, we see Neanderthals line the audience. They yell and they roar. They bang bones and claws in rhythmic sound. A gate of bone opens up across the Colosseum, and out walks the saber-toothed tiger. Huge muscles flex under its striped fur. Sharp fangs shine in the light. It hisses and snarls as another gate opens across the arena. Out of the shadows, we see a fur-covered human shape emerge. It wields a jawbone like a club and raises its arms. Ladies and gentlemen, we present the missing link for your combat viewing pleasure.
The missing link.
These two fighters face off. The very fate of the evolutionary chain is at stake. As the crowd begins to cheer and roar, these two mythic forces of prehistoric nature collide, and the screen goes black. And we ask you, who wins and who gets to conquer the new formed world?
Sabertooth tiger.
Woohoo! They go on to evolve and make an entire civilization of saber-toothed tiger people.
Hey, what do you think vampires are, dude?
They're just descendants from saber-toothed tigers.
Yep.
Risque. Conspiracy.
Conspiracy.
But yeah,
But
what
yeah.
do you think would win? You should tell us on the Instagram post. I think that
So
concludes the saber-toothed tiger.
it does.
We learned some history, learned about some possible sightings. It's still out there in the world, roaming around, fracturing its skull left and right as it tries to bite into prey.
Yeah, we learned that they always tried to help babies find their way back home.
Yeah. Only the good ones, though.
Okay.
Remember, because the bad ones, they wanted to eat it.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Hey,
Diego
man,
gets the
what
ice
if-
stuck
what
through
if-
his tummy.
What if they're the good guys and Dennis Leary is the bad guy?
I mean, you ever seen Rescue Me?
Anyways, if I'm trying to get rescued from this episode, so Alex, how do I find you online?
We had fun talking with you too, Eli.
You know?
Oh, if you want to find me on Instagram and Twitter, you can find me at AlexDaiKaiju. That's Alex DAIKAIJU. And for my sources today, I used cryptidarchives.fandom.wiki, the Dreadnought Wikipedia, cryptidzoo.com, and the Pine Barrens Institute.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I had
You
to
had
learn
one about a
about the saber-toothed tiger. Yeah.
Really?
Mm-hmm. And now, live from sunny North Hollywood, California.
Don't
Jasmine
Don't tell people where I live.
Mayweather.
I live in Los Angeles.
So vague.
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram. My name is the same on both. It's Jasmine Maywith, JasmineMaewith. My research today came from the Pine Barrens Institute as well. Cryptids of Africa, Weekly Wonder Blog, Hidden Animals, a field guide to bat squatch, chupacabra, and other elusive creatures by Michael Newton, Mysterious Creatures, a guide to cryptozoology by George M. Everhart, Cryptozoocity, Cryptid Archives fandom, and Cryptozoology A to Z by Lauren Coleman and Jerome Clark.
Yoo-hoo.
Ooh, solid, solid. Now, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the man before you stands accused of being handsome. How do you plead, sir?
Not guilty.
Who are you addressing, Alex?
The one and only Stephens James Myers. Order in the court.
Not guilty,
order in
Your
the
Honor.
court. This whole
I'll
case
take
is
the
thrown
time.
out. Now tell him about your
Um,
Instagram.
Okay. You can find me on Instagram at Myers Stephen. That's MyerSSTEFFEN. And then my research today came from the New York Times, Nat Geo, the Pine Barrens Institute as well, and animalstime.com. Thank you, thank
Woohoo.
you.
And now we'll lead you to the chair, sir.
Okay. What?
And Eli, you got to go to bed because you're very tired. So tell everyone what they got to know, and we'll get out of here.
All right. You can follow me at the Eli Watson on Instagram, and in addition, because Jasmine and I had a lot of the same sources, I only have one that she did not mention, and that is Mystery Cats of the World by Carl Schuker. I used that in my research today as well. And you can check out Cryptid Campfire on all of the social medias. That's at Cryptid Campfire on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and more. You can check out our website, cryptidcampfire.com, and you can get yourself a snazzy Cryptid Campfire t-shirt. Do not buy from another website.
Oh ho! Do not accept any substitutes. The bootlegs are out there.
Yeah, we say this, guys, not just as a joke, but for real. You can find bootleg Cryptid Campfire shirts for whatever reason, but the only place that you can get them officially from us is going to be our website.
And it's probably cheaper if you buy it through us anyways. What was I going to say? Oh, please check out our Patreon. We give you guys exclusive episodes almost every week. You know, for $5 a month, you get yourself some exclusive episodes, including the backlog exclusive episodes, along with early access to episodes. So instead of getting them on Tuesday, you get them on Sundays. And we're working on getting a whole bunch of other goodies to you guys. So, yeah, subscribe and you'll never know what you'll get in the future. Well, thank you, everybody. Good night.
Bye, guys.
This podcast is a part of Straight Up Strange Productions. Discover more shows like this one at straightupstrange.com.